conclusive, but certainly if the trial were being held today, that would be an enormous obstacle for the prosecutors to overcome. That there was this evidence relating to him and nothing relating to the men who have been convicted. The police had never questioned him. They barely questioned the families at all, and any real law enforcement operation knows that, sad as it is, when there's a child murdered, the family, the immediate, the people closest to the children are the ones that you have to look at first, because children just don't have big running around lives. But these police did not do that. At a rally that was held a couple of years ago at the steps of the Arkansas Capitol, Natalie Maines came and she spoke to the crowd. There were a lot of different things done. She spoke, and one of the things she said was that there's now this new evidence that points to Terry Hobbs. He sued her for defamation, and as they were preparing their different responses to that lawsuit, her lawyers interviewed, deposed Terry Hobbs, and in that deposition, he said that he had not seen the children at all on the night that they disappeared. Ultimately, his case went to U.S. District Judge Brian Miller, and he dismissed the lawsuit. But as a result of the publicity about the lawsuit and the deposition, Hobbs' neighbors who had lived near Hobbs at the time of the murders read for the first time of his claim that he had not seen the boys at all on the night that they died. So they then, I think it was I think two of them were related and one not. Anyway, they went to the police. They then swore out affidavits saying that they had seen Terry Hobbs in his backyard with all three of the children shortly before they disappeared that evening. There is one event that trumps all of these in what's happened in the past couple of years, though, and that is that it has been learned that the foreman of the jury, Kent Arnold, jury in Damien Eccles and Jason Baldwin's trial, contacted a lawyer here in Little Rock who has himself sworn a deposition, an affidavit, whatever you do. He has said that that he was representing Kent Arnold's brother in an affair, and Arnold was paying him to represent his brother, and so Arnold was calling him about that case while the trial was going on, the Eccles-Baldwin trial was going on. And you all know that judges routinely tell jurors, while this trial's going on, you're not to watch any television, read newspapers, nothing that would contaminate your experience with this case, and you're not to talk about it even with anybody at home. Arnold was talking with his lawyer here about his brother's case, and very frequently, and in those conversations, while in the midst of this trial, he was continually talking about the trial. And he said that he felt that the jury was leaning towards acquittal. He felt that the prosecutors were not presenting much evidence. He was afraid that if he didn't tell the jurors, the other jurors, about Jesse Miss Kelly's confession, which was explicitly prohibited from being introduced in this because of that Sixth Amendment issue, he was afraid that if he didn't tell them about it, that they were going to acquit. And so he did. And that has now been presented to the court. Judge Burnett has heard all of these things and said, nah, doesn't matter. But now it's all before the Arkansas Supreme Court. In Damian Eccles's, because his case has gone faster than in the other two because of his death sentence. His case, his final appeal in the state, is before the Arkansas Supreme Court. On September 30th, the court will hold hearings on this last appeal, and you got to know this is the number one issue that they're going to be looking at. Okay. They will decide that it's okay in Arkansas. Jurors are talking outside of court and introducing stuff that's not supposed to be in. Or they're going to say, well, we can't have that. We've got to draw the line. Maybe Dale Griffiths, yeah, all these other things, but we're going to draw the line there. It's kind of iffy what they're going to do. But if they decide that what Kent Arnold did was so outrageous that it truly cannot be accepted in this state, then they will have to decide that Damian should get a new trial. And his lawyers are asking that he be restored, if that's what they do, that he be restored to his situation before he was even arrested. Therefore, basically saying, let him go, and then if you decide you get enough to try him again, then arrest him. But, of course, everybody who cares about him, particularly his wife, Lori, are hoping, beyond hope, that the court will actually just feel that it has no choice but to order a new trial. But we've been surprised before. So, if the court says that was an error, but as they have done in many cases, a harmless error, then Damian's lawyers will take his case immediately to back to the judge who's been assigned to it already, and that is Judge Brian Miller in federal court. And a lot of people are thinking it was going to take getting this case out of Arkansas political elected judges' hands in order to get it to be a fair hearing. Supporters, and I am one. When I wrote Devil's Knot, I wrote it strictly as a reporter, and I wanted to make it as accurate and fair in all directions as I could. But our public officials have routinely said that when asked by media about this case, basically they say, those are just people out of state who don't know anything about what really happened. And so they're able to dismiss the interest from so many people who think that what happened was an outrage. And so hearing that over years and years and years, I finally decided, no, damn it, I'm in state. I know what happened, and I'm going to be a supporter. I'll just speak out and then just try and say I don't know. So I do have a high horse. Anyway, the question though is, imagine you're one of the prosecutors and the court, some court, decides that Damian Eccles deserves a new trial. And now people around the world in Norway are watching. Are you going to do the full moon trick again? Are you going to do the 3 and the blood in the water and, all that? And if you don't do that, what are you going to be left with? What are you going to get this death sentence with the second time? Well, I think that's a very intriguing question. Okay.